Expectations are just to compete and play hard, and in general, just as cliche as it sounds, we're trying to get better every day. So we just want to put a good product on the floor and represent the university well, on the court and off the court. Conference is tough. I mean, it's one of the toughest in the nation, and it's probably improved in that, it was already tough. So it's difficult to project where, a brand new team with a brand new staff is going to finish amongst a group of teams that are already a bit established. So our goal is to, is, like I said, to compete to the point where we can put ourselves in a situation to make the tournament. And so, it's a challenge. At the same time, it's a little bit different of a position, not being preseason ranked, 1 or 2 or even 3 for the school. So we've got to step up and meet the challenges best that we can. Yeah, I feel very fortunate to have the staff that I have. I've got three coaches on staff aside from myself, all with tons of experience. So you mentioned Dustin being vocal. He's been a head coach in Europe for a professional team. He's assisted me with national teams, and on that particular day, you're going to hear his voice more probably at the beginning of the season, especially because a lot of the things that we're trying to do are brand new to our players. So offensive systems and movements and actions and things like that. And so we try to subdivide and delegate within the staff who's going to be focusing on what. Aaron Tavides has been a head coach in college before. He's he's a long-time name in this community. He's done a ton with youth basketball, so he brings in a great amount of experience as well, also with just managing kind of successful programs. So Aaron's a local guy, and he and I have actually been on the same bench before, but it was like a million years ago at St. Gerard High School. So I feel very fortunate that we have him here. And BJ Alzaid was an assistant in Austin for a number of years, almost a decade, at a very successful Division III program. And he is our coordinator for recruiting. That's his primary hat that he'll be wearing this year. He's got a great relationship with a ton of coaches here in the state and out of state, and he knows a lot of players that are up and coming. So he's given us great access to a lot of potential great student athletes for OLLU. So again, just feel real lucky to have those gentlemen on board. In terms of what you should expect to see, you should expect to see our guys play a lot harder as the season goes on. I think there's a certain buy-in when it comes to playing hard and giving maximum effort on every single possession, and that's not something that can be just flipped on like a switch. It's something that you've got to kind of adopt yourself to the individual, and then as a group you've got to develop that as an identity. So that's one of our biggest challenges as a staff, is getting these young men to understand what it means to really sell out for the group and really be a part of something bigger than themselves. So I think you'll see a gradual incline as the season progresses in terms of our intensity and our focus and the product on the floor. Asking about the international experience, international basketball has transformed the game here in the States, from the NBA, all the way down even to the youth level. So we're trying to dribble a little bit less and pass a little bit more. We want to share the ball. We want to get into transition, and I think the biggest theme is trying to teach all skills to all players. And they're notorious for that in Europe and some of the international spots around the globe that have really brought up basketball, Canada, Australia. So it's definitely helped me. It's given me a unique perspective. I feel like I'm offering maybe a little bit more on the developmental side of things for players here, than perhaps they'd get at another school. So, but it's a process, and that terms become very cliche, but we've got to recognize that these are skills to be built, and we're not going to reap rewards, day one. I'm just excited. This will be the first time in a while that I've had 2 feet on a sideline in the United States of America. So I'm excited about hearing our national anthem before the game. Just excited to be communicating with referees in English. And so it's, little things like that probably a lot of coaches take for granted. This will be the first time that I've been in the States on the sideline in quite a while. So it's going to be fun. Right. Those guys have been here, so they understand what it's like to be a student athlete at Our Lady of the Lake. So I think their biggest value, at least initially, is to help these other players kind of assimilate into that student life culture here on campus. They've been a great help to the staff as well, just in general about where things are and who we need to speak to about, certain things. But I hope that they take on a little bit of a leadership role here, and I hope that they're able to just kind of help these other guys really adapt to Our Lady of the Lake life and culture. We're excited about, the group that we have. We've got a few really talented freshmen that I think are going to be good career players here at Our Lady of the Lake. Under normal circumstances, this would truly be a development year for them, but we're going to need them to play some this year, so we're going to throw them right into the fire, and I think you'll see them, really step up to the challenge. Zach Thomas, Xavier Woodington, and Curious Hood, and it goes by Key. We've got a couple of transfers in. Really, the rest of the team is all transfers, but we've got some guys that have really stepped up. One from my alma mater, East Central High School, Ethan White. He's going to be a great piece for us this year. We're excited about having him. He's a terrific student, a great young man. Darren Minifield came to us from Houston. Darren's running the point for us right now, so he's kind of proving to be, that extra coach on the floor. He's doing a lot of those intangible things that we're asking him to do. And we've got another Houstonite, Lennox Jones. Lennox is an extremely talented young man that's having to adapt to a different role this year, but it's taking it in stride, and we kind of expect big things from him as well. But additionally, we've got a lot of good pieces from a lot of different guys. A couple of guys that can really shoot it, a couple of guys that defend really well. So it's just getting all those moving parts moving in the same direction. Yeah, so I think when you step into a really successful program, it's not, it's definitely not about reinventing the wheel. It's definitely not about trying to change major things because they've already experienced success on the court. I think the biggest thing that we can do as a staff and as a new team is impact our community as positively as possible. So our guys have been making frequent trips to places like Haven for Hope and Sam Ministries to work with kids without a home, essentially on the basketball court, using basketball sort of as a vehicle to, impress positively upon those kids. We've got things set up for the remainder of the season and after, in terms of reading to kids at different shelters, different local youth outreach posts. We're going to be working with SA Youth on integrating our guys into their youth communities and trying to serve as positive role models for those young men and women. We'll also be, tapping into our friends at Positive Coaching Alliance that work with Boys and Girls Club and YMCA. So there's just a lot of things, that our guys are going to have their hands in, and we're hoping that it doesn't just serve the youth in the community, but it's going to serve us as well. I think it's a great experience and opportunity for our guys. So that's a big focus for us this year. I mean, we want to define success in the same way it has been defined, which is win a bunch of games and playing the tournament. But I think defining it, especially at a place like Our Lady of the Lake, it's got that definition has to include your impact locally in the community and the people that you serve. It's great. I mean, so far, that's probably been the single, most impressionable kind of experience that I've had at Our Lady of the Lake, other than just the initial acceptance of the position. because to me that's a really important component that, you know, it's hard to find shortcomings of a really successful program, but I think that was something that was missing here. And now that we've done it once with the support of the university, the guys were so excited about being here, and those guys are so important to our current culture and so important to the future of the culture that we're trying to build. I want them to not just feel welcome, but I want them to play an active role in, you know, what this program is going to look like 10 years from now, you know. And so it was really cool. We had a lot of fun. They're a really talented group, so it's not a normal alumni game. When I go play in my alumni game, there's guys that are 50 and 60 years old out there with beer guts and, you know, huffing and puffing. Most of these guys can still play and would be all conference players right now. So it was a great test for our group and our young guys, but they, you know, it was fun. It was a good environment, and it was really enjoyable to visit with those guys and their families, you know, after the game. So we're looking forward to next year being a little bit bigger, a little bit more involved, a little bit wider in scope, and I just think that's it's a great measure of a program is alumni involvement, and I think that's something that we can definitely do better as we move forward. This has historically been a really tough place for opponents to come win, and it has everything to do with the student body, the faculty, the staff, administration, and this community being present in that gymnasium. So our hope is that they continue to show that support. Our hope is that, you know, they're patient with us in that process, but that they come and, you know, just they're really that extra teammate, you know. And if they'll come out and you know, show that support like they've traditionally done, I know that our young men will feed off of that. I know that you know, they'll give us an unforeseen advantage, you know, when we do play here, because we don't get to play here very often, unfortunately. So when we do have those home games, we're really looking for them to come out, enjoy a good basketball game, see some good basketball, and you know, witness the progression of this team and these guys as we approach postseason.